What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the January edition of the State of Affairs on the King Crusoe YouTube channel. Today, we are going to be doing my December wrap-up, and that's what these are more or less going to be for the time being. If you want a little bit more information on the things that have changed, both about this series and some of the other changes that I'm making to my channel over, 2023 compared to 2022, you can check out the 2022 year in review video that I did just a few days back on the first of the month. That video came out, and I talk about some of the, main changes that were coming to this series, as well as what those changes would entail for a new series that I'm going to be doing along a similar line. But for this video, since it is the December wrap-up, I feel like we first need to do a normal section of what last month's videos with performances were. Let's get into this scene and talk about the videos that came out. Now, first of all, obviously, I did a normal State of Affairs video that came out on the 1st of December. The video performed pretty much like normal with 20 views over the course of the whole month, right? Just as always with every month, talk about the things that were happening on the channel. That video did pretty good. I'm happy about its overall performance. Next video that came out was my November reading wrap-up and TBR video. Got 26 views over the course of the month. December was scheduled to be a little bit of a slower month for my reading, and it was after the behemoth of Les Mis that I had read in November. That was a fun video to do, just as they always are. Next, I did my November 2022 book haul video in December. That one performed pretty much the same as the last two videos, with 22 videos or 22 views since its release. That one was a lot smaller than the October book haul was, and a little bit, well, a lot of it smaller than the coming December book haul is going to be. So that one was a little bit of fun as well, just because I didn't have a whole lot to say, just had a few new additions, not a whole lot. After that, we actually had some reviews that I did over the month, the first being on The Odyssey by Homer. That review did actually pretty good for itself with 20 views since its release, which I think is relatively similar to how the Iliad performed the month prior. I'm pretty happy with that one. The Odyssey is a book that I think more people are going to be slightly more attracted to compared to the Iliad, because it's slightly more approachable, both in how it forms its narrative and the familiarity that I think people actually have with the Odyssey compared to the supposed familiarity that people don't actually have with the Iliad. Next up, I covered American Psycho, which was a crazy fun book for me that surprised me a lot and that I really enjoyed, and one that I have talked about a lot on the channel up to this point in a couple different reading wrap-up and TBR videos, in this independent review that I released, as well as a spooky season reading wrap-up where I talked about it as well. This is a video that I'm very happy with. It got 47 views since its release, so definitely the best performing video of the month. And then next up, we had actually the least, oh, sorry, that's the wrong button. We had the least performing video of the month, that being on The Lesser Devil and Other Stories by Christopher Rocchio, which makes a little bit of sense, since it's not like the first release in the series, and since it's not even a mainline title, it only having 10 views since its release is pretty okay. However, its view average is actually twice that of most of the other videos that I released in December, so in terms of general performance, it actually performed pretty similarly to all the other videos aside from American Psycho. But that was a video that I had fun talking about, because I got to talk a little bit more in depth on The Lesser Devil as the novella, but I also did a little bit of more specific talk on each of the short stories within the collection. So that was one that I had fun with as well. But those were all of the videos that came out over the course of the month, and that totaled to, oh goodness, if I can do some mental math here real quick, that's like 80, 120, 130. That's like right around 150 views over the course of the entire month just with those videos. So that is something that I'm pretty happy with. The next section that we're doing in the new format for the State of Affairs and the monthly wrap-ups is last month's writing, and I actually have a little bit to talk about in this one. I did finish writing the rough draft to Beneath Perfection, which is my new novella coming out very soon. I'll talk about that one in a little bit in another section in this video. Um, Chapter 7, the whole novella was originally outlined and planned out to be 9 chapters with an epilogue. Then it ended up cutting down to 8 chapters with an epilogue. And then I wrote Chapter 7, and it ended up being twice as long as expected. And then I was writing Chapter 8, and that one ended up being about 5 times longer than expected. And as such, I split it to create a Chapter 9 again. So now it is back up to 9 chapters with an epilogue. And Chapter 9 was still the longest chapter by about 1,500 to 2,000 words, even with that split. So I'm very glad, actually, that that happened, because not only did it get the whole project to a word count goal that I was hoping for, but it also means that those 2 chapters got to breathe in a way that they really needed to, which I discovered, while writing those chapters. That one was very fun to work on. And not only did I finish writing the rough draft for Beneath Perfection, I also began the edits for it. So the first writing project that I'm going to be releasing on my website, seasonalproductions.com, that will actually be edited and reviewed by myself before I actually release it. So it's going to be by far the most published work that I've created up to this point. I got through chapters 1 through 4, which were all much quicker and faster editing experiences than I expected. 1 through 3 I did in one day, actually. 4, I didn't edit for a couple weeks until I did 4. Or sorry, I did 4 the next week, but it was the only one that I did for a couple weeks because of, Christmas and all of the family, different stuff like that. So I didn't actually get around to editing anything after that for a little while. But when I got to chapters 5 through 7, well, 5 through 6, I was expecting to be very long and arduous editing processes. They were not. They actually went really quick and were rather simple. It turned out that I wanted to add some more meat and a lot more words to both chapters 5 and 6, 5 especially. And in the editing process, I realized that I didn't actually need to. Sure, I needed to change some things around and fix what was written because they were a little bit rough, but they were not nearly as bad to edit as I had expected them to be. Plus, I somehow also edited chapter 7 as well. That editing process was actually longer than I thought it would be for the first half, but then the back half was pretty okay. So I got chapters 1 through 7 out of the 9 chapters of Beneath Perfection edited. I only have 2 more left. Those 2 I will be doing very soon. In fact, on the time that you're watching this video, it'll probably be within a few days that I'll be able to get those 2 chapters edited. Now, let's move on to my channel statistics, which I am keeping in the state of affairs. Let's start off with my view count for the month. I got 211 views over the course of the month, which was 12% less than I did in November. However, December was still a good month for me. Like I said, American Psycho especially performed really well, which I was not expecting. It's kind of similar to the way that the Bird Book review performed, which was and is one of my best performing videos up to this point. Surprisingly enough, I would expect American Psycho is probably going to also meet a similar standard over the coming months. Other than the views, I also got 14.2 watch hours in December, which was 42% less than in November. And I think November had both less views and watch hours than I got in October, but October was just an insanely good month for me in terms of my statistics, so I'm not unhappy with this. In fact, a 14.2 is still better than I got over most of the months of 2022 prior, like up through probably July or maybe even August as well. I got, maybe 11 or less watch hours over those months, I think, generally speaking. So 14.2 is still perfectly acceptable. I'm very happy with that. Additionally, I got a net gain of 1 subscriber. I actually gained 3 and lost 2. My total subscribers is now at 431, which is what it's been hovering at for right around a month and a half or so. It's been at like 430, 431 or so, based on how many I gain and how many I lose. It's just been hovering around in that same spot, which is, perfectly fine for me. As long as I don't go below 400, I'm honestly pretty much fine. So those were the statistics for the month. And what's coming up on the channel this month, just a very broad, not specific, way to talk about this, since I'm going to be doing announcements on my bi-weekly update series, the first one of which you will see on Sunday, I believe, on the 8th of the month. I'll have my first bi-weekly update out, and on those videos, I'll talk a little bit more about what I'm working on and what's coming out over the time period. This month, I do actually start releasing chapters of Beneath Perfection. In fact, chapter 1 came out on Monday, and I believe this video comes out on Wednesday. Chapter 2 is out today. Chapter 3 will be out on Friday. A new chapter will be released every day, or sorry, not every day, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday until the whole thing's finished, so it'll take about 3 weeks to get through. Trust me, I will have enough time to edit chapters 8 and 9 before those need to release in 2 weeks. Like, I've got plenty of time. Those won't be very hard to edit at all. I'm very, very happy and excited for this to finally be coming out. And like I said, it is definitely my most polished work for sure. And I'm quite proud of it. Whereas most of my other writings, there are issues with it that are like, okay, I should probably edit this at some point. And especially my previous novella is really, really, really rough. Several chapters of that basically need to be completely rewritten. Even though I like the last few chapters a lot, despite how short they are, a lot of of In the Mountain Pass needs to be fixed. So Beneath Perfection being so polished, and especially of a decent length that I wasn't fully expecting it to get to, even if I wanted it to, is very exciting to me. It's just under 35,000 words right now. By the time I'm done editing it, it ought to be right around 35,000 words, which is, that's not too shabby, especially for something that I was hoping would get to 25,000 words or more. So I'm rather happy about all of that. Also, this month, I will finally get to start working on a lot of other stuff again, including writing some review scripts for video game related stuff. I'm releasing a lot more book binge videos this month than I have in the past. In fact, I'm going to have one every Tuesday and Thursday for the entirety of January, and I think the entirety of February as well. So, basically, all of those Thursday episodes are either going to be the 2 book hauls that are coming over the next couple months, but especially year-end wrap-up stuff. So, like, I'm doing a tier list for all of the books that I read in 2022. My top 10 books of 2022 comes out tomorrow. So I hope you're excited for year-end content because there's a lot of it coming alongside my normal Monday stuff where I talk about some things that I'm excited for the year and for the month and, whatever is going on, as well as my normal book reviews. So I hope you stick around for all of that stuff. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see how things go this year with some of these changes. I'm very excited for them. Let me know what you think in the comments below, how you like the change of format of State of Affairs, because before I think it was a little bit too info dumpy in ways that maybe aren't necessarily the best for monthly wrap-up style videos. So thank you guys for watching again. I will see you guys tomorrow for my top 10 books of 2022.